Well, you certainly touched on a lot of issues, everything from energy to foreign policy, including immigration reform. President Obama ran on a platform of hope and change, including hope and change for Latinos and the DREAM Act and the immigration reform that he promised.
Right.
However, of course, Latinos also are worried about fixing the economy. You know, new polls are showing
Sure.
immigration as not necessarily always number one, but it is definitely a very important issue. So talking about immigration reform, what would you do and how would you plan to tackle this issue? And there is the DREAM Act, there is labor temporary work visa programs. How do you tackle such a complex dilemma and issue?
Well, I think we start with a commitment to comprehensive immigration reform. It includes questions of amnesty. It includes questions of border security. It includes questions of visa reform in order to get the workers that American business and American economy needs, but to hold the employer accountable. But I think the first step. Now, I'm a civil rights guy. I have to tell you this. I grew up in the Deep South. I grew up on a farm. I grew up where my parents were involved in marching for civil rights. That's the way I was taught. At that time, the issue was African Americans who were treated like slaves, who had no rights, who couldn't drink in the same water fountains as whites, who didn't get paid for the same job done the same way, who didn't even have the right to vote. And, you know, my parents had a cross burned in their yard because they stood for that. They stood for civil liberties and civil rights, and that every person should be treated like a human being. And you just go forward now 50, 60 years, and you're in America in the 21st century where we're having the same discussion. And too often it's a lot of the same hateful rhetoric. I mean, I've heard American citizens chastise, put down, make fun of citizens who are Hispanic. The same way it happened in the South in the 1950s with citizens who were African American. It is the same principle. And I know every person is different and groups are different. All I'm saying is that there's a common thread here. And that is the first step is the most important. And my first step is a commitment to comprehensive immigration reform. Now, looking at the different pieces, I don't have all the answers, but I'm a good listener, and I'm a team builder, and I think we ought to do it under law. We are a nation of laws. It is an honor to be a citizen of America, and it should be treated so. Undocumented and illegal workers and people of this country are going to have to be addressed. And I don't frankly have all the answers. I see a program where we address each of these citizens, undocumented, illegal, if you let me say that, and that is they're not citizens and they didn't come with a visa, and treat them fairly. I can see, I noticed that Newt Gingrich in a debate the other night talked about having what used to be called draft boards where local citizens or regional citizens could look at undocumented people in their area. Well, that was an idea that I expressed in February of this year. I don't believe in total amnesty. I don't believe in forgiving a false step, except under specific conditions. And I like the conservative version of the DREAM Act, where we allow military service and we allow completion of college and we allow excellence in community service, to erase that illegal act, particularly for children who were not responsible for the act to begin with. So my first approach is a commitment to comprehensive. My second approach is to secure the border. Now, I know this is controversial, and I wish I had a better way to do it, but I haven't found it. I mean, I've walked the border. I've spent much time in Mexico. I was governor of a state that bordered Mexico across the Gulf of Mexico. Not the same thing as Arizona or New Mexico or California or Texas, but close. And I think we need border security. I think it has to be part of any comprehensive settlement. Now, I know that it's expensive, and I know that people will find a way. I'm no fool. I'm not naive, but it's a statement of law. I would do something different than others. I would work much more closely with Mexico. I mean, it's like our president now won't have anything to do with Mexico. Well, that's stupid. They are our good neighbor to the south. These two countries will do better when they work together. And that includes immigration. That includes reforming the visa program. That includes conversation, communication. That includes technical assistance with the war on drugs in Mexico. They're overwhelmed. We have technology that we won't allow them to use. Why? They're our strong partner to the south. I've already told about an energy partnership with Canada and Mexico. I mean, I can't believe the president stopped the pipeline from Canada. I mean, what would you rather do? Would you rather ship oil by tanker 10,000 miles from Saudi Arabia or have a pipeline from Canada? I mean, this is stupid. We don't even have a comprehensive energy policy. We don't even have an industrial policy in this country. But back to immigration. I believe in citizenship and it should be honored. I believe that immigrants ought to be done legally. I believe that we need to process over time those in this country who are undocumented and illegal. Most will be sent back to their native country. It's fair, but they should be given a place in line to become a citizen of America or participate in the new visa program. Now, I'm not saying that there's not a large number of undocumented workers who haven't earned the right to get a visa and to stay in America. These are people that have served in the armed forces. These are mothers and fathers who spent 20 years in this country and built a small business. These are decent people, and they ought to be treated decently. But the current system is unfair to Hispanic citizens of America, because Arizona has come up with, I guess it's Senate Bill 1070, that treats people who look Hispanic like they're not American. I mean, the people paying the price for the lack of political courage to do comprehensive immigration are people of Hispanic ancestry. They can now be stopped in the street, divorced of their rights, and it's not fair.